We got to start keeping better track of Mike's picks too.
What are you talking about? I'm doing a good job over here. Look at this record. Look at this record, Tony. What is up, everyone? We're about to give our picks for Week 6 of the season. Right after we hit this little bop. '80s football rules.
Yes, it does.
It's easy to have a good record when you're switching it after or mid-game, right, Tony?
I agree with that.
Here we go with this again. As you guys see, last week, Mike absolutely killed it. With 0 pick changes, by the way, throughout the entire week and in the weekend. Completely killed it. 12-4. And Tony had a good week, too. Joe had a above 500 week. That's pretty solid, but I'm just saying, guys. It's time to start copying my picks, I think, at this point. 2-game league. Kidding me?
I would have had a 10-game week if the Raiders would have held on.
But they didn't. I enjoyed that very much. Everyone that's tuned in, we're going to give our picks for every game for Week 6. You guys want to join in on the challenge with us, there's a link in the description. You guys can click that link and submit your picks to the pool. This week, we've upped the stakes. The grand prize is actually 2 NFL tickets to a game near you. So if you want to enter that competition, you're starting 0-1 by missing out on Thursday Night Football. Sorry. You start 0-1 for Thursday Night Football, but you can come back. There's plenty of games left to win. Speaking of Thursday Night Football, you guys just want to cannonball right into this?
I do. Can we address Harrison telling me that I need – TikTok does not need my old ass on it. It does not.
You think that. But there was a live the other day where like 5 people were in my chat saying that Tony would be great on TikTok. And I kept telling them that you'd be good at the skits that people be doing. Just 1 a week, 2 a week.
Oh, I thought Tony would be good at the dances.
Well, that too, but that's kind of my stick. I don't want him to steal it.
I can. I mean, dancers dance. That's what I do. I dance, I sing, I play musical instruments. I'm a multifaceted, I'm like a triple threat kind of guy. You know?
You're built for this TikTok thing, Tony.
Yeah, I'll put some consideration. Harrison may have convinced me to start my own TikTok.
Bada boom.
Well, you guys know what time it is. It's Bears time! Get shit on out of here.
As you guys see, I'm up 3 games now, starting off this week hot. I'm the only one that chose Washington Commanders. I was convinced by my chat in a live stream about 30 minutes before the game to switch the pick, and I had no reason to switch the pick. I just want to make you guys more mad about
it. Picking this game was like impossible because this was one of those games where I was like, I want to start the week off right. I'm really going to dive into the numbers and the run game. I think it's going to be a lot of running the football. I just went back and forth, and eventually I was just like, you know what, Chicago at home, they cannot mess this one up. Chicago, good for Chicago, be 3-1. Or 4-2 or whatever. If the Giants can be 4-1, then the Bears can be 4-2. But now when you have Velus Jones returning kicks, and now when you have Devontae Pettis being tackled in the end zone, like the most blatant pass interference I think I've ever seen, and now when you have Justin Fields hanging onto the football for, what was the numbers again? AWS said 9.7 seconds per pass attempt. However, like his time of possession for the Bears should be way higher just based on the fact that Justin Fields holds the ball as long as he does.
Carson Wentz had a great game, Joe. I'm sure you enjoyed watching his 12 for 22, 99-yard, 0 touchdown game.
Heineke season.
Yeah. Carson Wentz.
I think we make some new rules where if they don't get like a certain amount of first downs, yards, and points by halftime, the backup quarterbacks are forced into the game. We would have saw Heineke, we would have saw Nick Foles, and it would have been a better game in the second half.
There was a betting app that paid everybody who bet the under before halftime. Like, from what I read, and I forget the app, but everybody who bet the under on this game got paid before halftime.
They told them, like
they were just like, yeah, this game is shit. Here you go. Here's your money. It's not even going to get close to, 36 points or whatever it was.
Well, I don't know if you guys play Prize Picks, but Prize Picks will actually just start pulling the second half off the board. Like, you can't put the under on Carson Wentz in the second half. We're not even putting it on the board.
Like, no, like,
We're not. We
this
can't
ain't
even
gonna
put
happen.
50 yards. We can't even put 50 yards. Everyone's gonna take the under.
You know when they give you those discounted ones where it's like he just has to get 1 yard. It's like a free thing or whatever. I don't know if I would have put Carson Wentz on the over the 1 yard. It was so bad. Last night I had played a 16-team league. Nobody cares. I'll make this short. You guys can decide whether or not you think I'm going to win this week. I started Carson Wentz and Cole Kmet in the 16-team league. How do you think that's working out for me this week?
Oh yeah, you're gonna win.
Tony, the Cole Kmet thing.
It's done. It's done. I should burn that piece of paper right
done.
now.
It's ugly. It's
Hey,
ugly.
who told me? One of my friends told me that shit the other day. They're, hey, that guy Tony on your show. Yeah, tell him to give up on Komet already. Because I drafted him because I was believing in him, but yeah, that ain't working out.
Just straight up. This
I
is
was
2 years.
laughing. I was like, well, it is Tony.
I will never give up on any of the things I say. Cole Kmet to the moon. Top 5.
This game was ass. These teams are ass. And
I'm losing a lot of friends because of Tony and Cole Komet.
ass. I think it's time to put Heineken as well, Tony. I think it's time at this point. What can you lose? How can it be worse?
Tony, you don't want to go on a Thursday night football rant again and say NFL needs to get rid of it?
No, there's nothing more I can say other than look at the products they continue to put out. And even when we do get 2 good teams, what's the point of that? I don't want to watch 2 good teams on short rest. I'd rather watch them play in the primetime game on Sunday, or at the very least, do a primetime game on Saturday night. Like, stop pretending like we care about the player's health, because they don't care about the player's health, clearly. So is it about revenue sharing? Like, you don't want to do Saturday night because that takes away from like Pac-10 competitions or whatever on the West Coast? Saturday night and Sunday can be the NFL. It absolutely can. I know you don't want to do Friday because of high school football. This is all bullshit. Do the game on Saturday night instead of Thursday night. And then we have 3 consecutive days of NFL action, and they get actual adequate rest.
And you know what's more exciting than 1 Sunday night football game? 2 Sunday night football games. They do it on Monday night all the time. Let's do it every once in a while. Throw a Thursday night one out. Let's do 2 on Sunday or 2 on Monday. One of the 2.
Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Boom.
I love it. I love it. I'm starting to buy into the eliminate Thursday night football thing, Tony, but I don't think it's going to happen with the new deals that are probably in place with Amazon Prime.
Like Bezos cares. He's like buying planets. He doesn't give a shit. I was selling books and now I'm buying outer space.
Oh, man. Speaking of Sunday, we got a bunch of games that probably could go in the prime time slot. I wouldn't say that this first one is one of them, but there's a couple there that are close games to call this week. But starting off with the Miami Dolphins, who are playing with their third-string quarterback, hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings obviously 4-1, atop their division right now, but it still just feels like something's missing on the team. They don't quite put it all together any given game. So going into Miami here, it's another good test for the Dolphins for the Miami Vikings offense facing the Dolphins defense. Obviously, we're not going to expect very much out of Skylar Thompson until we see very much out of Skylar Thompson. We're all on the Vikings. Tony, anything to add to that brief breakdown?
And now that we all pick the Vikings here, this is guaranteed Dolphins victory. Skylar Thompson's going to throw for 325. And like, is it possible for them to have a third quarterback on the roster who has a lesser arm than Tua and Teddy Bridgewater? But somehow it seems to be possible. The Dolphins, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm like losing my mind. But I'll make this brief. When I heard the story about the Dolphins removing the pool table, I was like, this went from like Mike McDaniel, he's the genius, he beat the Bills, what a decision, what a team, to, oh, I think it's leadership that we removed the arts and crafts table or whatever it is that they took away from the team. The Dolphins are headed in the wrong direction. The Vikings, not that much better, especially defensively. I picked the Vikings. Basically, I was like, I guess the Vikings are going to win this game. Not super confident. And now knowing that I'm on the same island as these 2 bozos, I feel even worse about it.
This bozo's
2
games. Joe?
Well, Tony, it's funny that you mentioned it because I wanted to talk about that table, foosball table or whatever it was. And I was going to tell you that the Mike McDaniel honeymoon is starting to wear on me. I think it's over. They had that great 3-0 start. He looked like a genius going in there. And then now every time I see a press conference, like the one today, I just saw his press conference today, and he's like telling the reporters, it's Friday, can we talk about Minnesota? And they're like, no, we're going to talk about Tua, and we're going to talk about Teddy Bridgewater. And then it comes out about that foosball table or ping pong table, whatever it was in the locker room, that he's on praising the players that they got it out of the locker room and they're moving on. Well, then it comes out that Tyreek Hill's like, no, we didn't get it out. The leg broke. We're just buying a new one.
Yeah.
Stop it! I didn't hear that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
On the podcast, he said that. He said we're not taking it out. It's just broken. We got a new one.
The head coach is like, yeah, these players, they want to be more committed to the game. No, they broke the damn table. They're just bringing a new one in.
Yeah. That's what
and Minnesota Vikings, like they're supposed to be like they're on paper, they're one of the best talented teams and doing what they're doing. They win ugly. I was pissed off last week with them the way they're winning. But Kirk Cousins is somehow still finding Justin Jefferson and doing enough. And they got Dalvin Cook involved last week, so I think it's going to just keep going. But there's no way that I take a third-string, seventh-round quarterback not named Tom Brady right now.
Yeah, the Vikings almost dropped that game to the Bears last week, so anything can happen, obviously. But
his name is Bailey Zappi. I think.
Yeah, he beat the Lions, by the way. But yeah, I think that this is a big game for the Vikings. That 5-1 number is big for the Vikings, man. We know that they're known for kind of choking away seasons, starting slow on seasons, only putting it together for half of a season. Getting that 5-1 boost gives them some breathing room when it comes to the wild card picture and the chase for that division.
Well, they got the coach of the year. They got the MVP.
It's a big game for the Vikes. Dolphins are kind of just trying to. Everyone on the Browns here, I can see Tony was expecting some Patriots picks, some belief in Bailey Zappi. Tony, what are you thinking here? Cleveland rocks?
I'm thinking I might switch some of these picks around because, I just figured that they would be able to not have to play Justin Herbert this week, right? Which I think is the difference in the loss that they suffered at home last week. And this game is probably a lot closer and a lot uglier. Like Ramondre Stevenson, if you play fantasy, you might want to think about picking up Pierre Strong. Could be somebody that we see come in and get 10 to 15 touches, and Belichick makes this just a real sort of slow it down, run football game. But the Browns at home 2 weeks in a row, this time they get the Patriots. I couldn't pick at them against home 2 weeks in a row. They're just not that bad of a football team.
Joe, I know you didn't have a hard time picking this one, not the biggest Patriots believer.
Yeah, I'm Cleveland should have beat Los Angeles last week. They should have won that game. There's no doubt about it. Mike even had to make a video about how bad Jacoby Brissett was and say that he's not the hero and all this crap. Like that's how much you were like, but you knew deep down inside that you were sweating Jacoby Brissett beating your team and having to come out. The Browns I don't want the Browns to win either. I don't think they're a good team either, but they're going to stay afloat until Deshaun Watson gets here, and this is one of the games that's going to give them that extra win. But I'll tell you what, this game will probably be one of will probably be the fastest game this weekend because both teams are running the ball, and when you run the ball, the clock goes. It's going to be the fourth quarter by the end of It's probably be the fastest game and probably a low scoring game, probably because of how long both of these offenses stay on the field.
I think it'll be medium scoring in the 20s somewhere for both teams. I don't know if you guys saw the news that Denzel Ward and Jadeveon Clowney have been ruled out of this game, which just softens up that Cleveland defense a little bit more. They just gave up, 300 yards, 250 yards rushing to the Chargers. Josh Kelly was even eating. So I do think the Patriots are going to run the ball. I do think they're going to stick in the game. But when it comes down to the end of the game, I think the Browns got more juice with Amari Cooper, Jacoby Brissett, David Njoku, those guys versus third string Bailey Zapp. And everyone keeps telling me, like, Bill Belichick's going to load the box, right? I keep telling everybody, that every team in the fucking league has been loading the box on him, right? And they're still the number one rushing attack. There's no stopping this team. You have to put 9 in the box, and still they might block it up. I would choke Devontae Adams. I don't have to worry about it as he freaking watches the games in a prison cell this year.
Going to jail. Old.
Tony, you want to change your pick live on the spot? You can go to the Patriots here.
Yeah, let's do it. Patriots.
Yeah.
Changing the Patriot. I will change it after this game.
There we go.
Patriots.
I'll change it about at halftime.
We're getting on the road. We're heading to Atlanta here where the Atlanta Falcons are hosting the San Francisco 49ers. One of us is on the Falcons, the one in last place, so I wouldn't say pick the Falcons, but Tony, 49ers got this even with some injuries. Nick Bosa is questionable for this game right now.
They have a lot of injuries. It's not just some, it's like a lot of starters on the defense, which makes me a little weary for the game, but I still think they have enough to take away the one thing that Atlanta wants to do, which is run the football. And I don't think Atlanta will be able to stop whoever is running the football for San Francisco. And each week they've been doing a little bit more of the passing game, so maybe there's more George Kittle this week. Maybe it's a big Brandon Ayuk week. I think they can put some points on the board for the Niners and play good enough defense to still win this game by 7 to 10 points.
Joe, what's your thoughts here on Atlanta?
This is going to be a Jimmy G special game where he's going to screw up so much that Atlanta's just going to have to be gifted this game. That's my thinking. And the 49ers have lost some guys on defense. They're missing their kicker. It's just going to be an ugly game. Not that I don't think the Niners are the better team. I think the Niners are the better team, and they should be able to take care of the Falcons easily. But there's always a game where the Niners are 3-2 right now. They should be 5-0. They've lost to the Bears and the Broncos, and you're going to think that they don't play down to the level of their opponents. They should be tearing these guys up. Atlanta is coming off of a game that they should have probably came back and won. That they got screwed over in the fourth quarter, and they're playing against. Tampa Bay is not that elite team that we thought they were going to be again this year, but they're a pretty damn good, solid team. And Atlanta's has been playing better each and every week. And I just think this is one that they steal right here just because of a 49er team that's all banged up, and it's just going to be an ugly victory.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on that injury report to see how many guys are eventually ruled out probably tomorrow night or the next day in the morning. So I may change my pick as well. I do think the 49ers are a little bit riskier, the Falcons sneaking up on them and getting one. They should win. They're the better team, and everything you said, Tony, I agree with, that they should be able to move the ball offensively on this Atlanta defense. But just time and time again, if the game's kept close, and Atlanta's kept their games close this year, Jimmy G sells. He sells, and the 49ers drop games this way. But we'll see. I'm sticking with San Fran for now. I thought Nick Bosa was out for weeks. The fact that he has a chance to play in this game is really good news for 49ers fans.
It's because he saw Micah Parsons, and he's like, I can't be a bitch. I got to go out there and play.
He's got a stronger groin than his brother.
Oh, Tony. Low blow on ourselves there.
You get it? Low blow?
Let's go to another real close game between two really, really close teams. Tampa Bay on the road in Pittsburgh. Should we just go to the next one, or?
No, this is the woke community is talking about this game. It's two black coaches going against each other. This is a big deal. Didn't you hear Todd Bowles talking?
I did. I had no idea. I didn't even think about that as anything of importance.
Exactly, Tony, because he said the same damn thing. It doesn't matter. They don't see that. Their friends are going at each other. They're coaches, NFL coaches. The only thing is one has a fucking bad team and the other one has an all right team. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to get dominated in this game again. There's no way. The Steelers are rebuilding this whole year. It's going to be a very long year.
The coach is heading to the Hall of Fame, Mike Tomlin, locked in, put him in if he retires today, has the worst team and is going to get smoked.
Well, it's sad because I like Mike Tomlin, and we all like Mike Tomlin, but we've never seen him with a team like this. And this team is
Pittsburgh's in a weird spot because in the way I look at it is if Lamar stays with Baltimore and the Bengals could actually figure out their offensive line, Cleveland's going to get Deshaun Watson. They might actually be in the worst position in this division for multiple years in a row because the defense is getting injured and old every year. It looks Cam Hayward looks a little bit less. Minka Fitzpatrick is getting a little more banged up. TJ Watt's getting a little bit more banged up. And then the offensive line isn't there. And they're trying to figure out the QB. They're in like a huge position of transition as to where the other three may have their quarterback figured out and playmakers in their prime. And it's like, oh no, all of a sudden Mike Tomlin went 14 years without a losing season. He might have multiple losing seasons in a row. Like, I know that I'm projecting out quite a bit. It just doesn't look good. I think this is one game where all of a sudden we go, oh, these are the Bucs we know. They put 38 points on the board this weekend.
Joe, any more to add?
As long as it's Mike Evans catching all the touchdowns, but you got Godwin made a big difference. Even last week, even though they squeaked out the victory or whatever you want to say against the Falcons, Godwin being back makes a big difference, and being back for the second week and continuing to get healthier and healthier each week, because he's taking a lot of pressure off of even Mike Evans and Tom Brady themselves. So, and you notice that he's going for him. So once they get that going and they get everybody back on the field, they're going to be the same Buccaneers. And this whole start of the season that we're like everybody's worried about it, we won't see that come playoff time.
Yeah, for Brady to find that success, he needs that short yardage, like security blanket wide receiver that he can use to stay ahead of the sticks. Even with the banged up O-line, a lot of times Brady's deep passing is set up by all the short passing that he does, and they tried it with Cole Beasley. They tried getting Scotty Miller on the roll again. They're just not the same level player as Chris Godwin. You get Chris Godwin back out there, I think he had 10 receptions in his first like fully healthy game back, right? It was 10? 8
No.
in there? 10 targets?
He had 10 targets, 6 catches for something. Yeah.
Much
But
better.
I want to just see if anybody wants this. Is anybody willing who wants to leave the Cole Kmet train with me, and let's go get on the Cade Otton train?
I've been on the Cade Otton trade.
Let's go that route instead. I'll just erase that. I know I put it in pen, but we'll
Tony just killed somebody else's career.
Oh, no. We're going with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If the Steelers even hang tough in this game with their rookie quarterback, it will be a little bit of a surprise. And the Steelers are probably going to have a long season from this point because of the T.J. Watt injury. Just that injury alone made this defense substantially worse from where it could have maybe carried them if T.J. Watt was healthy. We got the Cincinnati Bengals on the road in New Orleans. A little bit of who day versus who dat. And Tony, going with the who dat?
Yep, this is where I get it. Andy freaking Dalton right here. Let's go. The more I look at this one, this is another one I probably should switch. I went and looked. There's no Mike Thomas. Jarvis might not play. Olave's in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So he's going to be throwing to like players who were semi-relevant when Drew Brees was there or Taysom Hill was the starter, like Marquez Callaway and Jawan Johnson. This to me feels like a matchup. That's why I picked it, where the offensive line is so bad and the defensive line and the defense for the Saints at home, I think, can take advantage of that, keep the game close. Andy Dalton plays grown-up football, gets him in line for a field goal at the end of the game. A lot of the things that the Bengals were winning last year, all those 3-point games, we're starting to see some of that luck shift against them this year. Like they're not winning the 3-point games. And this, I think, is just going to be another one.
We talked about that a bunch this offseason, and sure enough, here it
If
is.
the Saints defense was playing like we thought they should be playing, and we thought, because I don't know, I thought the Saints were going to have a pretty solid defense, but they've been letting me down the last couple of weeks, especially last week when Geno Smith lit them up in the loss or in their win, but Geno Smith was still doing his thing, right? Geno Smith looking like a top 8 quarterback, number 1 quarterback in this league. Pay the man. But yeah, so many weapons on this offense. How many can you continually take, Tony? And then with AK's situation that he's healthy one week, not healthy the next week, I don't know. We might wake up Sunday morning and he just doesn't feel like playing and he sits out. So the safest bet for me was to go with the Bengals in this matchup, even though the Bengals haven't been playing well and haven't been the same Bengals as last year. And Tony called it, that said the Bengals will be the Bengals this year. But I just think they make enough plays. And can Jamar Chase get it going just a little bit? Maybe this is his game that he starts it.
He's getting the Tyreek Hill treatment, and everyone's seeing how hard it is to be Tyreek Hill. But yeah, I'm going with the Bengals as well. I think that they're going to be like this all year, this kind of back and forth thing where they win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Tough in every game because they are a tough team loaded with a bunch of young talent. But at the end of the day, there's some serious weak points in the defense, and there's some serious weak points in the offensive line. and that's hard to overcome consistently. You can overcome it some weeks, but that is hard to overcome consistently. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals this week. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna go with them next week. It's not like I'm riding a hot hand or anything. They just lost.
So you're gonna be like Lyle Collins. You might block somebody and you might not.
Yeah, maybe. I don't believe in the Saints too much. I did take them to beat Seattle.
I also need the Saints to win this game to keep my prediction of them winning the South alive. Like this is the kind of game at home. It's tough. They got to win this game. Harrison, I don't know what's going on, what your personal beef with me is. I don't know what I'm saying. It must be the picks. It must be because I picked the Saints.
I'm
not picking the Panthers.
Harrison, CMC is going to get traded. I'm sorry. We talked about this last week, I think, on this show. I'm sorry, Harrison. I'm sorry. Oh, what a surprise. No one's picking the Giants, even though they keep winning.
And Joe over here, always back in the I thought for sure he was going to take the G unit, man. And he didn't. He did not. This feels like the Ravens get it rolling and the Giants come back to earth a little bit. I just refuse to believe that the Giants are this good 4-1 football team that everybody loves so much. I know the Ravens have a ton of problems on defense, but give me a break. Like two running quarterbacks. Give me Lamar Jackson. That's the running quarterback I want, not Danny Dimes.
Well, the only thing, there's only one thing that makes me want to go with the Giants and think the Giants actually have a chance in this game is Daniel Jones. No, I'm just kidding. It's not
what is wrong with you? Mute his mic.
Is the defense coordinator? What's his name? Wink
Martindale.
Yeah,
Martindale, whatever. I don't know. That's how much I give a fuck about the Giants. I don't care. Like that's the only thing because he was in the Baltimore organization. He knows them left in and out. He knows everything. He probably is the one that came up with like, hey, if I was a defense coordinator and I was going against Lamar Jackson, this is what I would do, telling John Harbaugh to his, and all them over there. So he might have a plan because he was right there. He saw Lamar at practice, everything that the weaknesses and stuff. And maybe he has something, but you have to have the talent to stop it. You can have the great game plan, but you have to have the talent to stop it. That's the only reason. Other than that, Baltimore on defense has been bad, but they've been bad against the pass, not the run. And New York's only thing that they have going for them is the run. I think Baltimore shuts them down, and their defense goes back to looking all right just because it's one game. And that's it. That's the only – there's nothing that tells me New York offense is going to come out here and do what some of these other teams have done to Baltimore's defense.
Yeah, and New York isn't like – playing at an unreal level. The O-line is playing better than they did last year, a ton better than they did last year. They got a left tackle that's starting to stand out a little bit. They drafted really high, and they were really worried it was going to be a bust for a little while there. And the defense is overperforming as well. But really what's going on in New York is Saquon Barkley's putting this fucking team on his back, and he is carrying them offensively. If you go and look at Daniel Jones' stats, go and look at the wide receivers in New York stats right now, they ain't really helping. They ain't really helping Saquon too much. Saquon is carrying them, and I'm a little bit worried about him carrying them against this Baltimore defense. But I will say, if there is a strength in the Baltimore defense, it's those linebackers, it's those guys that are going to have to face off against Saquon in the hole. And Saquon may break one or two out. I think he's going to need more than one or two to win this game. And Giants fans, I apologize every time. I'll apologize every time I pick against you guys for the rest of the year because you're right. You guys do deserve some respect. We still ain't going to give it to you for some reason.
I was just going to say, they don't deserve it. They didn't do shit.
Packers, that's it. Speaking of the Packers, but
I didn't hear any Giants fans talking about them being this good this year.
No, hell no.
Of course not. But once it happens, then they're there.
Yeah, I guess so.
But we got the Jets here on the road in Green Bay, going to Lambeau. The New York team upset the Packers in London. They ain't gonna upset them in the land of the cheese, Wisconsin.
No, and we clearly hate the state of New York. We went 6-0.
I changed my pick at around quarter number 3 of the game. I love the Giants.
This is another team that I'm like, okay, you're 3-2, but I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it as being good, and I'm buying the Packers at home. Last game wasn't a home game. If the Giants would have had to play the Packers in Lambeau last week, I don't think that the Giants win that game or mount that big second half comeback. So I'm picking the Packers because they are the better team and because I just don't buy the Jets. I know that there's like a lot of optimism around it because it's the first time they've been above 500 since like Mark Sanchez, but I'm not going this route. Packers all the way.
Right on, Mark Sanchez. Joe?
I really, really want to go Jets here. I do. And I like what the Jets have been doing. And even like last week, Tony, you said it yourself. The Jets put that exclamation point on the win. They kept it going. But it's the going to Lambeau and just being on the roads, like how much like the Jets are already playing higher than expectations. Are we really going to go and jump on that train and be like, okay, now they're good enough to go beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, and Josh Wilson, like or Zach Wilson. I'm sorry, I'm not there. I'm not there with them. Like to me, I think he's still going to make that one or two mistakes to get it. But Green Bay their offense has been so horrible that it's like maybe Robert Saleh can make a great defensive game plan and just shut them down again, and they win just a defensive game. But I don't know. I can't do it. I'm not
the run, Joe. Like they let Raheem Mostert run for like $125 last week. You're telling me AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones? It would be Coach LaFleur would be a fool to not just say we're going to dominate this game on the run, and then we're going to be able to use slot guys to pick up yards like in Randall Cobb and getting Tunyon involved on a few big plays. There's no need to go and test the rookies like the rookie.
But every time we think they're going to get the running backs going, they don't, Tony.
Just win the fucking game, LaFleur, and don't like Aaron Jones said at the end of last week. It'd be nice if you just gave us the football. Like just give it to us on one of those two downs and let us get 2 yards.
Because I think that's what you and I have been crying about all years. Like, why haven't we expected? Like when Devontae left, we expected them to go to a more running team and use these two running backs, and it hasn't been that way.
I only cry for real things, Joe, like the end of Armageddon. Like that's the kind of stuff I cry
That's
about.
bullcrap. You cried. There's a lot of you cried during Home Alone when he was left by himself.
Oh my goodness, I was terrified. I still get terrified. Hold me.
Right now. I'm about to cry right now. I'm crying because the Raiders don't got a game to lose this week. That's why I'm crying. But the Jets, man, I think that their record isn't turn it off. I think that their record isn't necessarily saying like that they're a legit team, that they're competing for the division, that they're even competing for the wild card this year. But I do think it is showing that they're improving. And I think it's showing that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, they're doing a really good job in the draft. Like they're picking the right guys. Whether Zach Wilson's the answer or not, they are starting to build a team that has strength with two good running backs, strength in the O-line, the wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. They kind of look like they're working good together. The defense, it's looking like Sauce was the right guy for the pick. It's looking like that's the guy the Jets needed to go with in the spot that they went with him. It was a little bit controversial with how early they took him. And the front seven is looking better than expected. So the Jets are going in the right direction. They are a couple of big name additions away from really maybe being a good team in the next couple of years if they see it out. But the question is, will they see it out? It seems like in New York, that fan base gets so impatient with them that they don't give them the couple of years that they need for these young guys, this core they have right now, to grow and allow the front office to add some veteran talent. The Jets are trying. They were in the Tyreek Hill race. So they are trying. They're not just laying down, but it is improvement. Not good enough to beat the Packers in Lambeau. Even if this game is close, the Patriots just ran the Packers to the wire on Lambeau Field. I don't think that the Jets win it down the stretch.
Tony, if the Packers lose this game, what I mean, what do we think of this team? If they lose this game,
well, to me, it depends on how they lose the game, right? Like again, if it's a defensive battle, then I'm not as worried because I have faith that Aaron Rodgers will eventually figure things out. I have the Packers at an 11-win team, which is down from the 13 they've had the previous 3 seasons. So I knew offensively there'd be a step back. I have not thought that the defense would look as soft as it has. That's my issue is like, how is all of this talent not adding up to any dominant performances yet for Green Bay? They have pass rushers, they have linebackers, and they have monsters in the secondary. They should be crushing some of these teams. And I think this is the week where it's like, hey, the Giants are feeling good about themselves, but a couple early interceptions in this game, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, all the A's, everybody gets together and dominates. The Packers should win this game to me pretty easily. And it starts with defense.
Yeah, it seemed like it would be a much tougher defense than it's been. One Packers fan was saying it was a decent point that last year the defense was kind of soft the first couple weeks of the year also, and it seemed like the colder it got, the better they got. Maybe they're just one of those teams that just super tough. They need that weather. They need some kind of element to bring them to that next level.
Yeah, but that's not how good defenses work. Ray Lewis was never like, hey, we got to wait for it to get chilly in Baltimore before we start playing defense. Like, it's fucking stupid.
I don't see my breath yet. I suck.
Get a couple of weeks. Hey, we don't play preseason. We're still getting back and shaking the rust off or whatever. But there's no great defense that's like, oh, yeah, we're really good. Come December, we ask Santa for extra help, and all of a sudden we're good. That's not how good defenses work. They need to turn it around starting this Sunday with a dominant performance against the Jets.
Real football don't start till you're under 40 degrees, Tony.
Yeah. Real football don't start until you're the Indianapolis Colts with your back against the wall, with one of the worst performances ever last Thursday night, still winning in that game against a team that just stomped you a couple weeks ago. You guys are both going with the Colts. You guys just know I'm like some kind of Jaguars fiend, and even when they lose to the Texans, I'm still going to pick them.
I'm picking the Colts and cheering for the Jaguars. I don't like the Colts. This team is boring, and they're even like on another stratosphere of unwatchable without Jonathan Taylor. Like that's all of a sudden you take out Shaquille Leonard and Jonathan Taylor, and there's not one player on the field that I'm like, oh man, I got to tune in to see what's going on in that football game. Not Michael Pittman, not Alec Pierce. Nobody in the games are exciting to me. So that's not the case for the Jaguars. But the Jaguars, this is what I think happened. I saw up close them whoop the Chargers. I am starting to think that game was more about the Chargers' panic of we have a very injured Justin Herbert, and in a close game, again with Brandon Staley, king of the bad decisions, he did not call a timeout and substitute linebackers in for defensive backs. They hit a home run, and the game was now two scores, and it was out of touch or whatever. The game, when I think back on it, it wasn't like really that dominant, and the Chargers are more so beating themselves. And they beat the Colts 24-0. Those are the two big victories that I've been saying, like, oh, this is a different football team. And it is. It's better than, philandering Urban Meyer-led football, for sure. But it's not like anything where I think that I need to be going to bat for it on the road against a Colts team that is at least going to fight. And they're going to be well coached by Frank Reich. So 16-13, super boring. Maybe we'll watch the highlights of this game.
Yeah, and the game's not in Jacksonville. If it was in Jacksonville, then you put Jacksonville all the way because they own the Colts in Jacksonville. For some reason, you just got your butts kicked 24-0, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now you're ready to come back and you want to fight. Jacksonville, you weren't prepared for what the team Jacksonville had. And like you said, the first couple of weeks, anything can happen in the NFL, and then it starts leveling out. And these two teams are very, very similar, very, very similar. And there's not a big difference. Like they're built basically the same. Their defense has stopped the run, and they give up a little bit in the passing game. I just think Matt Ryan has to be playing better at one point. He has to start playing better. Dude has 7 interceptions on the season already. I think they finally get it going. They've had that little extra rest in between. They had the 10 days or whatever it was because they played last Thursday, and they just looked horrible. I think they're going to fix a couple things, and why not? This is the game to come out and fix it and do it. I like Jacksonville. I wouldn't be upset if Jacksonville won, and I could understand if Jacksonville does win. I'll just go with the Colts in this one just because I think they finally start to get it right.
Yeah, the Jaguars looked like a team that maybe could have some confidence from week to week to now to kind of what we thought that they were at the beginning of the year. And I think we all admitted that the Jaguars seem like they have a team full of a lot of young players, similarly to the Jets. They're going in the right direction. They got something to build around, but it's not put together. And they're not consistently going to do this week in, week out. Doug Peterson still has to iron out the kinks of that roster. Trevor Lawrence still has a shit ton of improving to do before they're a legitimate team, first and foremost. But I'm rocking with the Jaguars because even though my gut is saying Colts, my logic is they just played the Colts a couple weeks ago at full strength. I know it was in Jacksonville, so that is different. This is a completely different game. And they smoked them. The Colts have only gotten worse since then, have played worse since that game. So I don't really have a reason to take the Colts. I don't really have a reason to take the Colts against anyone right now until they show that O-line can hold up for that old-ass quarterback that can't hold up his damn self. There's a couple interceptions in that Broncos game where you go, is that Matt Ryan or did they put someone else in those pads? Like, that was ugly.
It's Ryan Matt.
Yeah.
We're still waiting to see Matt Ryan. We've seen Ryan Matt for the first 5 weeks. It's going to be a different Iceman. It's not really. The offensive line just isn't very good.
Yeah,
and the Colts aren't very good.
It's like small mistakes too. Like he'll have two receivers running in different directions and only one guy to guard them. So it's like one of them's going to be open. Just hit the right one, throws it straight at the DB. Matt.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out. Let's see if it pays off.
Well, yeah, this game should be a snoozer, an ugly one. On to the next one. Tony, riding solo with the Arizona Cardinals. I've got some bad news. I'm thinking about changing this pick, Tony, but for now I'm
Change it right now.
Seattle. Tony, give me some convincing arguments for the Cardinals here so I can switch to your side, and that way you don't get a win.
I tell you what, Mike, let's just trade right here live on air. Honestly, this was another game I went back and forth on, and I landed with this simple thought in my mind. I will be super pissed if I don't pick the Cardinals and they win this game. But I won't really be that mad if I pick the Cardinals and the Seahawks win, because I don't really know who's going to win this game. Like, I don't think either one of these teams is particularly that good. But what I do know is this. The Cardinals defense has been playing better. I think Kyler Murray is the better quarterback. Rondale Moore is better. I think Enoy Benjamin is not that big of a fall off from James Conner. So now I got to look at like the Seahawks side. Their defense is horrible. It is so bad that they are ruining what legit could be, and I'm saying this with a straight face even though I have dimples, people. They're ruining what could be like an MVP-style campaign for Geno Smith right now. Like, imagine if this team was like 4-1 and Geno Smith is leading the league in like quarterback rating and throwing for all these touchdowns and putting up these crazy numbers. We would be like, is Geno in the conversation? We also have to think about it from this angle too, is that like the entire NFL is like pretty much down. Like, you could make a list where if you had Saquon Barkley at the top of your MVP list, it's not that crazy to think about that. Obviously, we got Josh Allen and all the other people, but Geno Smith playing amazing. The defense is one of the worst defenses I've ever watched.
Convinced me, Tony. I'm switching to the Cardinals. Joe?
I don't know what happened. I don't know what I missed.
Mike and I we're just goofing. We're just new boot goofing over here. Tony, the defense. What are you talking about? Seattle's a great defense. They've only given up an average of 440 yards a game.
They give up like 40 points a game.
So they're close to
440 yards a game is not bad, right? Look. You all know what I think about the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Eagles overlooked Arizona last week, and people are going to buy a little bit into Arizona being a better team than they are because, hey, they hung with the Eagles last week. They were right there with them. I don't see it. The loser of this game is the bottom of the NFC West. You guys know that, right? They're 2-3, both 2-3. The loser stays at the bottom. Geno Smith is starting to connect with his wide receivers even more. Like, everybody was afraid in fantasy football to take DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett because they didn't know exactly. But last week, they were clicking, and they've been clicking, and they're starting to go in this offense. And now they have, with Penny out, you get to see the guy that everybody's built up in the offseason, Walker. Can Walker be the guy? Is he going to be able to run all over? Can Arizona stop him? I just, for some reason, Arizona should win more games than they have. They have the talent, they do it, but for some reason, I don't buy into them. I just don't think they come out with the game plan. I think this game comes down to coaching, and if you put two those two coaches together and you go, hey, who are you going to put your money on? I'm taking Pete Carroll all day over Cliff Kingsbury, and that's what I think come down to. But I'm starting to root for it. This is what I want in every Seattle game. I want games like last week. I want high-scoring games, 35-plus points for both teams. So I'm down with that. No defense. Hey, you know how in fantasy football they went no running back strategy? Seattle's going no defense strategy. Just like it's working for them kind of, but not working for Detroit.
I was originally thinking that the 12s would inspire the Seattle defense to play a little bit above what they've been playing this year, but I'm switching the pick. I'm going with the Cardinals. They're a better team than the Seahawks. If you want feel free to switch over to Seattle. The Cardinals are going to win this game. Yeah, Isla, go put your money on the freaking Arizona Cardinals. My picks are getting her going over there. My picks on this. Go Cardinals.
For this comment, you get
take the Cardinals. Don't fade the Cardinals. Take the Cardinals.
Mike, you just talked about switching.
I switched. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Mike's high school lunch lady stopping by the show. Thank you, Isla.
Was a lot better.
Mike, you said always 50 cents.
On to the next game. Harrison, close your damn eyes for this game. Actually, I wouldn't even tune into the game, Harrison, if I was you. LA Rams hosting just a crumbling Carolina Panthers team. CMC trade rumors, QB change, head coach change. Basically, freaking PJ Walker is standing in a burning building right now, and he's going to try and put the whole fire out by himself. Tony Tucker, you're not seeing it happening against the defending Super Bowl champs.
The Rams aren't in much better shape, by the way. Like, it's not prettier over there. Cam Akers is going through some stuff. They can't get Allen Robinson going. The offensive line can't block anybody. Sean McVay is losing his voice, his hair, his youth. Everything at the prime of his life is just all being sucked out of him by a team that's going to be like 9-8 at the end of the year. Like, it just isn't very good. And I don't really see coming into the season, I would have thought they would have won this game by like 2 touchdowns. If you told me that this is where the Panthers were at already by this point, and I didn't know anything about the Rams, like, oh, the Rams are going to destroy them. This might be a 17, 18-point win. This is going to be like a college spread type, 17.5 points. I think that they win this game by a field goal. I think it's that close. And that just says how bad I think the Rams are right now. And I have no reason to think that they aren't. They don't stop the pass particularly very well. And you got USFL, XFL, MVP, PJ Walker about to sling it this week. Changing my pick to the Panthers, Harrison. Here we go.
You know what? Tony got me hyped up. I'm changing my pick to the Panthers. You with us, Mike?
I appreciate you guys tuning in to the show this week. These two just changed their pick to the Panthers. I'm sticking with the LA Rams. We see you guys next week for the weekly Pickems. Can I move your guys over here? We need like drag and drop features, StreamYard. Come on, man.
I'm not really.
Are you serious? Are you seriously doing it?
I'm not going to stop changing. I'm just trying to get a rise. I'm trying to get a rise out of Harrison in the comments. But I honestly think it's going to be like a field goal style game, and we're going to be back here next week talking about what's wrong with the Rams. That's what we're going to be talking about on the Tuesday show.
I love how Tony's like, I'm not actually changing it, and Joe's like, I was just backing Tony. I'm not changing it either.
Look, hey, when your homie needs somebody to back him, you back him. And I was like, I got Tony's back. Right?
This is what I wanted to elicit. Was I wanted to get a rise out of Harrison, who's been with us for the entire show. I want to throw a little juice, because what are we supposed to say? The Panthers are dog shit, and nobody watched them for the whole year. Like, that's not fun. He's our friend, our boy. He hangs out with us every week. We do a show.
That's true. I was gonna say we had no problem calling the Bears and the Commanders dog shit. So
because there's no Bears and Commanders fans who hang out with us the whole time. If they did, I probably would.
You a little gentler.
Yeah. Harrison, I have some good news for you. there's a little bit of me, probably like 15% of me, that thinks the Panthers can actually pull this game off. That anytime, sometimes when a team fires their head coach, they get a little bit of fire lit under them, but they're playing the defending Super Bowl champions. They're playing one of the best coaches in the league, and Sean McVay has to be pissed off. He wants to get it fixed, but I can't do it. Like I can't. You know what? I promise you, Harrison, I'm doing it for you. I'm switching right now.
Is this real? Is this real? I just saw you go through a crisis live on the air, Joe, where you did not say a good word about the Panthers, but are still switching to them.
How do I switch? I'm going to do it right now. I got to go to edit my picks. I'm doing it right now. You guys don't believe me? I'm doing it. You can see. I'll pull it up.
Harrison is saying that the Rams O-line is bad, and I get it. It really is bad. I just don't see why or how or anything they're firing coordinators are being let go. They have so many issues.
I just did it. I did it live on the air so you guys can see it. You guys saw it. I just switched. I'm on the Panthers. Let's go, Panthers! Roar! Roar!
Keep pounding, Joe.
Hey,
man, I'm cheering for the Panthers. That's the best I can do.
They got to get Joe
on the life motto.
This game's being played in SoFi, Carolina Panthers. Y'all need to hit it, my boy Joe. Get him on the drum, even though it's in SoFi. Let's get it going.
I'm with you, Harrison. Panthers, don't let me down.
I'm going with the Rams. I will say the Panthers have one mismatch that they can take over this game at, and that's if the D-line absolutely feasts on the Rams O-line. That is their one spot where they can make this game close and maybe pull it out in the end. Or maybe P.J. Walker just catches the Rams defense off guard with how mobile he is. I still don't see it. I don't see it.
This won't be the only shitty team in SoFi this weekend.
Game of the week. We got 3 AFC West fans on the screen and only 2 AFC West fans going against the Kansas City Chiefs. Tony Tucker, I hate you.
This is what we call in the old Pick'em biz, because I've been doing it for a long time, is emotional hedging. I am going to be cheering for the Buffalo Bills, but if the Kansas City Chiefs win, I need to get a victory over Mike in this arena. I can't have the Chiefs win and I pick the Bills and I got a wrong pick and all that other business that goes along with it. So I'm picking the Chiefs at home in a game where I think that this will come down to a field goal. I think both these teams are good. They both have their different flaws. We don't really need to get into them. But at the end of the game, Andy Reid will say something else about being grim, being Reaper, being, like, hey, sometimes when you're handing out trick-or-treating candy, you just, goose it a little bit. And you give it to Josh Allen, and you win the game. He'll say something dumb. Cheeseburgers. I love listening to Andy Reid talk. It's a lot of food-based conversation with Andy Reid. We get along like that. So I'm going with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. I hope you lose, Patrick. I really do.
Joe, would you like to change this one too?
No, I'm staying with Buffalo. Even with all the injuries on defense, they've been playing better because the best defense is a good offense, right? You got to keep your offense on the field, and that's basically when you want to beat Kansas City. That's how you got to do it. You got to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, and it's going to be the same way with Buffalo now. You want to keep, but so both of them can't do it. I trust Josh Allen. Like somebody asked me the other day, they go, "Who's the best quarterback in the league right now?" Right now, it's Josh Allen. Right behind him, Patrick Mahomes. Right now, Tony, like not injured Justin Herbert, who can't be in the conversation right now. God damn it! Every fucking time
he's always in my conversation, Joe. Anytime you ask, I'm pointing to that. Just remember that.
Anyways, I'm in the middle of talking about the Buffalo Bills, and look, the Bills have won more games this year convincingly that we're just like, damn, they're blowing people out. Where the Chiefs are winning, and you can't take away. You are what your record are. You are winning games, and you're pulling them off. But they've been those close games, and they've been those tight games. And I just think when you're going against a better team, maybe Buffalo actually pulls it off. And something about like those revenge games that we've been talking about all year that they don't mean shit. Like you're not going to get your win back against against Kansas City from last year, but something in Buffalo's head they have to get over Kansas City if they want to become the next team to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it keeps working out in the Chiefs' favor where they see the Bills in the regular season, they get their revenge game out, they get all that emotion out, and then they see them in the postseason, and the Chiefs end up beating them again. We'll see if that happens this year or not. I would love to see these two teams playing in the second round of the playoffs next year, or even, if we can do what we want to do to the Chiefs and twist them up and trip them up and ruin them, maybe even in the first round.
I have one last prediction. This game is going to have a flop by the Bills at the end by a boogeyman type thing. The Bills are going to have some sort of clock snafu, thinking like, we can't leave him with any time left on the field. They mismanage a time. You know what I'm saying? They look over and they see Patrick doing that dumb thing where his helmet can't fit on his head because his afro, and he's just standing over there, and they're afraid of that guy. They're afraid of the guy that sounds like Kermit the Frog. They mismanage the clock. Something bad happens. Tyler Bass misses a field goal to tie the game to go into overtime or something bad like that. It's going to be close. Chiefs win, and there's going to be mismanaged at the end. They're afraid to give the ball back to Patrick after what happened. They're traumatized. 13 seconds. And it's all because of McDermott playing prevent defense.
I think that the Chiefs have been hanging on to these games just by a little bit of luck even. A little bit of bad calls by the refs against the Chargers and the Raiders now. I think that the Bills smoke them. I think they win by 10 or more.
Good. I hope so.
Yeah. Let's see which prediction is closer to true.
And then I screenshot this picture of Tony with the Chiefs helmet, and we put it everywhere.
This exact photo, that little cartoon character.
Make sure you put it on my newly started TikTok page, which you can follow at, I don't know. I don't have a good name for it yet.
Neither one of you guys are going with the Cowboys. I'm shocked. You guys always talk great about the Cowboys.
Oh, because Dak might start. That's why I'm worried. They have not announced Cooper Rush officially as a starter, and until then, I cannot choose the Cowboys.
But if Cooper Rush is a starter, you're going to switch?
Well, I don't know. We'll talk about it later.
Well, Tony, is that your logic and all the logic here for picking the Eagles?
No, my logic is the best player on the team is nursing a bit of an injury, and this is a bad matchup for the Cowboys. They have a good offensive line on one side and a good defensive line like that they have to face for the Eagles. Those are bad matchups for a Cowboys team right now, where the plan might need to be, hey, we can't run. We need our quarterback for Dallas. And it wouldn't matter if it was Dak, and it wouldn't matter if it's Cooper Rush, and it might not matter if it's Troy Aikman walking through the door. They're just not going to be able to move the football, I think, that effectively against the Eagles. In Philadelphia on Sunday night, it's going to be nuts. Like, Eagles fans take a bad rap, and it's for a good reason. There will be things being hurled, and we'll hear stories about how they acted crazy because they're going to be crazy liquored up for this primetime game on Sunday night. But I'm going to go with the Eagles. They're just a better team, and it's a bad matchup for the Cowboys.
Let's just wish our 302 bird friends luck and be safe out there, guys. Don't drink too much. Joe.
I was gonna make this rant about how the Cowboys are not playing the Rams. They played the Rams, the football team, the Giants, the Bengals, and the Buccaneers. That's their schedule. And I was gonna be like, they're playing a tough team. But then I'm like, I look at the Eagles' schedule and I'm like, they beat the Lions, the Vikings, Washington, Jacksonville, and Arizona. And I'm like, okay, so maybe both of these teams are a little bit overrated. But when you're looking at the Cowboys, and what have the Cowboys been winning with their defense? And they've been getting lucky because their defense is holding teams down to under is it like 17 points or 16 points a game that they're not averaging. But their offense isn't putting the points up on the board. So now you're going against a team with an actual good defense, and then a team that's doing the same thing. They're shutting you down, and they actually have Jalen Hurts. You're not going to hold Jalen Hurts and that offense to 17 points. They're going to put 20 points up. And then now, so that puts it in my head, do I believe that Cooper Rush is actually going to come out there and go, oh, you know what? I can score more than 2 touchdowns a game. We don't have to win 10-6 or something like that. So I can't do it. And then I'm also in the back of my mind, I have that mic. I was watching Parsons at the end of that game holding his groin after each play. And he goes, I can't go full speed, but I can go a little bit. That's, to me, that's a recipe for disaster. You know that you're hurt, but you're out there still. There's a reason why people take weeks off. And I know this is a big game, But you got to remember this is also a week 6 game. That doesn't mean crap come the end of the season. But hey, fly Eagles fly. Fly Eagles fly over them boys because Cowboys suck.
Yeah, I'm on the side of Micah Parsons resting if he's hurt as well. My thinking here is the Cowboys defense has not been tested the way the Eagles can test them. Like everyone's talking about the improvement in the secondary, the improvement of Trayvon Diggs looking like a top. I've heard people say the words top 5 again, like we did last year, beginning of the season. You guys got to keep in mind when the front 7 dominates a team like they dominated the Rams, for example. They dominated them. Matthew Stafford was under siege every single snap. I only watched the second half of that game so far, but I believe every snap that Matthew Stafford was under pressure. It's easier to cover wide receivers when they can't run anything that's like on half of their route tree, their entire deep passing route tree. They can't even run those routes because they know their quarterback's going to get hit right away. The Eagles have an O-line to give Jalen Hurts time. They have good pass pro running backs and a decent run game to keep the pass rush honest. And the most important part of it all, they got one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league, paired up with a bunch of dogs at wide receiver. So, yeah, this defense is going to get tested this week. If they're legit, even if the Eagles win this game in a low-scoring game, we can believe in the Cowboys defense the rest of the year when Dak gets back.
Yeah, they'll be nice first-round exit to the 49ers again. Good for the Cowboys.
I'll say that, Tony. Once Dak gets back in there and they have the number 1 defense and the number 1 offense, they win this game.
Yeah, Tony.
No, Joe, you must switch immediately, Joe. You must switch immediately, Joe.
Joe taking the Chargers with a Raiders shirt on, huh? It's the exact same shirt. Can you recreate the cartoon right now here on the spot? I don't think we need to talk about this game too much. I think the Chargers have a mismatch across the board against the Denver Broncos. And if the Chargers even let this game be close, in my opinion, as a Chargers fan, I don't have a Chargers hat next to me to put on when I say this, but it would be embarrassing. It would be. But, Tony, go ahead. Tell them if there's any worry about the Denver Broncos this week, where would it be?
If the Broncos figure it out in prime time, I will not be on the show on Tuesday. Like, I would not be able to keep myself from just shouting expletives at every team and person in the chat because the Broncos have showed no life against anybody, which means that the Chargers cannot be the team that allows them to like come to life. So I have to listen to a full week of like, did the Broncos discover something with Wilson and Hackett on the brink of destruction? I cannot handle any of that shit.
And you know what the crazy thing is, Tony? If they score 20 points in this game, that'll be the narrative. Even if the Chargers score 40, that'll be the narrative.
And you know what? And I'll be fine with that. It needs to be a victory. They Chargers need to get to 4-2. They should be able to get to Wilson in this game after the injury to Bowles. They have pieces in the secondary. The running game is headed in the right direction. Especially if Keenan's back too, and now they're going to have to like play single coverage on Mike. Come on. Let's go. Moving on.
Hey, it's Monday Night Football, and we get to see the Broncos on prime time. Can't wait. Haven't seen it all year. We actually get to see them show up. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I don't know why the Broncos are on prime time again. But, hey, Russell Wilson's been building himself up all week, and he's been doing it on Twitter. I don't know if you guys have been watching. He said, if you're going through hell, keep going. Keep going. That's what Russell Wilson said. I don't know what the hell that means, but, hey, I'm with you, Russ. He says, adversity doesn't last forever. Keep believing. Keep elevating. This is Russell Wilson. He's pumping himself up, and he said something about keep praising Jesus in the midst of a storm because your breakthrough is coming. So you guys right there, you guys are Charger fans. You're not scared of what Russ is putting out there? The message that Russ is putting out there? You should be. You should be like, yeah, Russ is waking up. He's ready to go. They just had 10 days, 11 days off. They played on Thursday, and now they get to play on Monday. Woo! They're ready to go. They're healed up. They've been learning and practicing. Then you have Melvin Gordon coming in for the revenge game, and he's going to dominate. Like, no, I can't. I try. I like. Part of me wants to believe that the Broncos might actually fix their shit, but no, they haven't shown anything. They've been one of the worst teams in the league this whole year, and the league continues to put them out there like a shitty Thursday night game. They keep continually put the Broncos out there for everybody to see and throw up. And you cost me. I got 4 tickets to this damn game that I can't even give away. Nobody even wants to take them because nobody wants to go see Russ fucking cook anymore.
Yeah, I'm not going either. But, yeah, Joe, you think after Russ dropped those tweets, he was pretending to high-five fans on the way to the shitter where he couldn't take a shit? He's full of shit. He's constipated because all those tweets were bullshit. I mean, come on. Russ, you're not facing adversity right now, bro. Your team stinks and they're full of injuries. You got the wrong coach. That seems like that's the problem, not adversity. I guess that's adversity.
But I was starting to think about this last night. How many coaches in the last 15 years if you are connected to a Hall of Fame quarterback, you can't come coach for my team. The Adam Gazes of the world, the only one you could look at Brian Dable. Brian Dable helped build up Josh Allen, right? And he's on that trajectory of the Hall of Fame. But think about all the guys that Tom Brady got jobs, and all the guys that Peyton Manning got jobs, and Aaron Rodgers has now gotten a guy a job. Like, I just look around, I'm like, if you get at the end on a Hall of Fame career, you can't be a head coach.
Wait a minute. Tom Brady got his offensive coordinator jobs?
What do you mean?
When he was in New England, he got his offense. He made his offensive coordinator look good enough to get head coaching jobs. How is that offensive coordinator doing today?
How many OCs have gotten jobs off the back of Tom Brady?
Josh McDaniels, for one.
Yes. It's not just Josh that's failed. They all went out and hung their shingle somewhere, and it's been not good. Joe, I don't want to go after Joe because
I don't either. I would
Josh
never.
McDaniels.
Hall of Fame defensive players do the same thing for coaches too. Anyways,
But it's not
the Broncos defense is very overrated, and I've been talking about this, and everybody's always saying the Broncos have one of the best defenses in the league, and we talked about it. Besides the Raider game, you take the Raider game out where the Raiders put up 30 points on them. The other teams haven't put up over, I think, 17. So the most points was Seattle, who put up 17 in the first week, and they lost. Other than that, you haven't been playing anybody, and so you've been luckily pulling out these wins. Now you played the Raiders, who have an okay offense and was getting it going. Now you're playing another good offense, that's got it rolling and actually clicking on all cylinders right now with the running game going. There's no way that Denver stays in this game. This game should. If Staley don't fuck it up somehow and go with some analytics bullshit, this game should be over at halftime.
We would have to go for fourth down like 5 times in the worst spot ever and fail all of them to still keep this game close. I hope not, Joe.
I'm saying it could be 4th and 1 on the 30, on the 30, and he gives the ball back to him on the 30-yard line, and they go in and somehow score. Like, that could be some Staley bullshit that he does. But I'm just saying this game should be over at halftime. This shouldn't even be a close game.
I'm also worried about Roger Goodell, like from the box, throwing pass interference penalties down to the field. Russell Wilson's ass up off the ground.
If J.C. Jackson gets burnt by Cortland Sutton or fucking Jerry Jeudy, then they need to cut J.C. Jackson and he needs to get refund the damn Chargers this week.
Like, cut him? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like, hey, here's your bus ticket and you're out of here, because there's no way that these two teams are so opposite of each other. They shouldn't even be on the same field. Like, I don't give a damn how much people built up the Broncos. Real fans knew that the Broncos weren't going to be good this year.
We really mismatched them everywhere. I would say special teams, but I think we mismatched them in special teams too somehow.
Yeah, no, that punter's pretty good.
That's true.
I don't like to build up the Chargers. It feels like I'm over here doing my little Pornhub shit on the Chargers right now. I'm not trying to do that. Well, I don't want to back the Chargers because I'm a Raider fan and I don't want to say that. But I've seen the Broncos play too many goddamn times this year, and they had it. They single-handedly killed NFL fans last week of boredom, where we're just sitting there like, oh my God, this is the worst game. And now you want me to expect them to come out on Monday night against a team that's clicking. Austin Eckler has finally got it going the last 2 weeks, and you want me to go, oh yeah, they have a shot. They have a great shot at this. Fuck no. No, they don't.
We can get back to talking about the Raiders, fellas, because I know that we like talking about the Raiders on this show. So this is the final matchup of the week on who's going to take this one. Will it be the bye week or the Las Vegas Raiders? Me and Tony rocking.
Can I switch my pick?
In the Chargers gear. Yeah, you could change your pick, Tony. What were you thinking here taking the bye week?
I was thinking that Devontae Adams is about to get suspended for a week. We're not quite sure.
Might get thrown in jail, worse than suspended.
They haven't thrown Alvin Kamara in jail. They're not going to throw Devontae Adams in jail.
I know.
The only reason is because you got the racist Kansas City fucking police over there. If it was in any other place, Tyreek Hill can beat his kids, and Kansas City police turns the other way, and then they're like, "Oh, you pushed down a cameraman, got you."
Some of the reports that came out about that guy when they were like, "Yeah, he suffered this and that, whatever, but he's not in critical condition." I was like, "No shit, he's not. He got shoved down, like kids."
He has concussion-like symptoms.
Did you read the report?
Last time I read, concussion-like symptoms.
Did you read the report where he said like he had to go out of his way to get to the hospital so fast by getting his own transportation, not even using an ambulance? And it's like, so you got an Uber, is what you're saying. Yeah. So you got an Uber, and that's worse than taking the ambulance.
Hey, and the NFL caring about their players, they were quick to let this Devontae Adams' personal address get out there quick when they released this police report, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
They put every media outlet has posted the police report. Well, right there is Devontae Adams' personal address.
Not cool.
That's pretty. I'm sure he's got.
They won't mention the guy's name, the camera guy's name. We want to keep that quiet.
People can find.
Yeah, the last thing you want is a bunch of angry Raider fans.
That's true.
Knowing where you live, like I don't want that to happen. I'd be pissed if any of you guys put my address on there.
I'm not backing Devontae Adams. I don't. He should have helped the guy up. Like if he truly did it, he should have helped the guy up. But this is one of the things that we've always talked about, and a lot of players have actually come out this week and talk about it. When you want these guys to go out there and perform like wild, crazy people, and they go out there and then just shut it down automatically, your emotions are going and shit happens. And a lot of things, I guess there's a lot of rules that I didn't know about, and it makes me sound like I'm backing them, but I'm trying not to. But I didn't know that they weren't supposed to have anybody in the tunnel before and after the game. And this guy, he broke the rule. And go back and watch the film yourself. Watch the one with the camera angle behind Devontae Adams. There's one that's in front where it looks horrible. It looks like Devontae just pushed the crap out of him. Watch the one from behind where the guy is actually eyes Devontae, makes eye contact, or looks at him, knows it's Devontae, then goes, feels the push, and then does like a little jump. It kind of looked like that lineman last night that sold it a little bit.
Yeah, I think at first when I watched that video and I saw it from that other angle, I was like, damn, he's in trouble for that. Like they're gonna get him for a big fine. And then someone told me something about suspensions and all that, but I do think it's being blown a little bit out of proportion. Another part of the story that's not being talked about a lot is that the Chiefs fans in the crowd were being like crazy, throwing trash on the field, throwing beer bottles at the players, like beer bottles hitting the players' helmets and stuff. And it's like he's already just lost the game the way they lost. He's already probably on edge trying to just get back to the locker room, and someone just jumps in front of him like that. And like you said, Joe, the other angle shows it a little bit better. And kind of what I was suspecting, the cameraman's moving really fast. Maybe he realized at the last minute he's about to run into Tay and he's trying to move and he's off balance. And that's when he gets the shove. So it makes it look like he freaking got thrown. But really, it was literally like Tay was almost like bracing himself and like barely shoved him away to keep him away from him.
Yeah. Raider fans are a disgrace, but Chiefs fans are yelling racial slurs and throwing beers and all that during halftime of a big game. Yeah. Good job, Kansas City. Right away, present.
You know, a fan base will never do something like that, Joe?
Chargers, because there's only 10 of you guys, and there's not a lot for you guys to do.
Don't worry about it. Y'all brag about your fan bases all the time. We only got 10 fans, all 10 of them respectable guys. 2 of them on the screen.
Any 10 of you guys want to go to the game this Monday night, let me know.
Well, that does it for this week, guys. That does it for the week.
Get me out of here.
That was probably my most fun pick'em show we've ever done. I'll just say.
What team did I change? Did I change again in this one?
I changed mine on the air. Harrison and I are going with the Panthers. Proud Roars.
You changed to the Patriots. Patriots over Browns.
Patriots over the Browns on the road. Billy Zappi season right there.
What? That was just an NFL logo. That didn't have nothing to do with Bailey.
No, well, I flipped it and I was like, this would be Browns, this would be Billy Zappi season right there.
We'll see you guys next week for our Pickems show. See if Mike can hold on to his lead. I'm saying that it's probably going to happen, especially when I'm controlling the whole thing, making all the graphics and changing my picks after the results of the games. But I'll see you guys next week. MJT Football YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Like the video. If you want to send in your picks, 2 NFL tickets on the line. The link is in the description. Go send your picks to that link before it's too late. Tony, you shook the magic 8-ball. What did you ask it?
Will Devontae Adams be suspended? You may rely on it. Bye.
Almond joys have nuts, and mounds don't.